Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and this video is going to be like another one of those "What have I been printing lately" videos, just so I can kind of catch up on some of the things that I like to print for fun. And most of them are out here on the table, and we'll get to all of this stuff in a second. But first, I want to take you to the great outdoors, because a couple months ago, I did a video about 3D printed birdhouses, and I put those birdhouses up, and since then, no birds have moved in. I honestly don't know anything about birds, but I did get a comment on one of my videos from someone who was explaining why there's probably no birds moving into those birdhouses. And it all has to do with, well, color. So basically, when I looked at the birdhouse, I'm coming at it from a human perspective, thinking that the prettiest, most vibrant, bright, contrasting colors would make for an excellent, cool looking birdhouse. But apparently, when birds see that, they go, "What are you trying to do to me, man? You want every predator to know where I live? You're going to get me killed if I moved in there." So that's probably one of the reasons why no birds moved in, is because my birdhouses were too conspicuous. And black does trap heat, so that was a bad idea on my part. But I went back and I printed myself another birdhouse using some of the advice that I have gotten. And this time I printed out of gray PETG, the most neutral color that I have in a filament that can survive outdoors. And the birdhouse I decided to print was actually designed by someone who leaves comments on my videos from time to time. The name is Liberty Forever, and they designed their own birdhouse and they put it up on printables, and that is the one that I decided to go with. And this birdhouse is cool. Now, it has a small opening that's meant for like songbirds and little small, tiny birds, but it prints without support, so you don't have to worry about that. And then they also put some really nice thought into it. There are some holes at the bottom for ventilation and for drainage. And when you want to fix it to like your fence posts or whatever, the holes to put in your screws is on the top of the birdhouse instead of having to go through the birdhouse. And that was very, very helpful. So obviously a lot of thought went into that. And usually when they leave comments, there are also some really well thought out comments as well. So check out that birdhouse if you want to get one that's printed and it looks pretty cool. So I put that one up, and so far it has already been getting tested by Mother Nature. It has been very hot in the mid 90s most of the time. It also went through a couple of really heavy downpours, and it's still doing just fine. So it's been holding up pretty good over the past handful of days, and hopefully it'll continue to do that. And if any birds move in, I will definitely let you know. All right, so now to the prints that's on the table. Let's start off small. I just wanted to print something one day. Didn't really care what, but I came across this little sign here, and this is Chicago, the city of Chicago, and you got like the skyline right there, or just kind of like a silhouette of downtown. And I found this on Maker World, and if I can find it, I'll leave a link to it. But they had others. It wasn't just Chicago. It was some other well-known places as well. And it's just a two-color print, and it's sort of like a license plate, but not really. It's just some very, basic generic signage. And I liked combining the colors of orange and black. It's one of my favorite color combinations. And yeah, I just wanted to print this. I might just put this somewhere up here. As I said in a previous video, I grew up close enough to Chicago, so I do like it. And yeah, I just wanted to print this. It was just something fun to do. I did this on the Bamboo Lab H2D because since it has those two nozzles, I was able to just do this at the same time, and there's no waste. So this was pretty fun. Next thing that I want to show you, wearables. This is probably one of my favorite prints to date. So this is a spider punk helmet. I found this on Maker World. I think it was Budwin who took this and just kind of altered it to the way that they wanted it to be, and then they just make it for free for anybody on Maker World. And this is, I want to say this is my favorite helmet. Yeah, it probably is my favorite helmet, because I've done things that I have not tried to do before. For example, the main part of this helmet, the red and the black, was done on the Bamboo Lab H2D using the two nozzles. And I know people want just a bigger X1 carbon, which it looks like we probably are going to get something like that. But the fact that I was able to print this in these two colors and not have any waste besides the prime tower, it's just incredible. And the detail of it is just absolutely freaking divine. No post-processing. It already has texture here on the helmet from the file, and it just looks so friggin' amazing. And this took like a day and a half to print. The other parts, such as the eyes, this was a separate print for the eye, like lenses, and then these spikes here, those were also separate prints. And then I just spray painted these spikes to give them kind of like a silvery kind of a look. And then there's also some little bits of jewelry on here as well. He's got like a little kind of like an eye piercing right here, and then there's like another little stud right there above the eye. But the thing that makes this so much different than all of the other helmets that I made was that it's magnetically attached. And no other helmet that I've done, I've attached them magnetically. And also, this is a helmet that I can actually fit. So for the purposes of this video, let me put it on. All right, hopefully you can still hear me. So you got the front on, and then here's the back. So hopefully I got that all kind of lined up. See that there? Now, I'm not going to keep this on for too long because it's hard to breathe, but it looks awesome when it's on me. And as far as these eye shields go, you can see out of them, but since it's like a honeycomb pattern, it looks kind of weird, kind of like, I don't know, it's like kind of pixelated, like you're in an old school video game or something, but it works and it looks really, really awesome. And now I can take this off because, like I said, it's getting a little bit hot in here and I can't breathe too good. I said I wanted to talk about these magnets, and I feel like that's something that isn't talked about too much when we see these kind of helmets getting designed and people putting them together. You see them getting put together in like short form videos. They get printed really quickly and they pop the magnets in and it's like pop, pop, pop. And then everything just comes out like perfectly. This is like the little eye ring. I didn't glue it in because these eye pieces, they're also magnetically attached. And if you attach the ring to it, then you can't like take out the eye thing. He tells you about that as well. So I didn't glue that part in. But anyway, when it comes to magnets for these helmets, it may seem like it's common sense, but a lot of people may not know this. These magnets, there's different polarities. They can attract and they can also repel. So when you are making a helmet like this, you have to make sure that the magnets that's going on one side of the helmet and the magnets that's going on the other side of the helmet, they attract each other and not repel each other. So before you glue the magnets to the opposing side, do a test to make sure that when you put the first piece onto the second piece or vice versa, they are going together like this, and they are not pushing each other apart. Because when they push each other apart, then it's not going to be balanced. It's going to have gaps. It's going to be uneven. And if you glue them in, since it's already a tight fit, I mean, good luck trying to get those magnets out again. So just be aware of that if you're going to put magnets inside the helmet. Also, you got to make sure those magnets are flush in those holes. Because if they are not flush in those holes, you get a similar kind of effect. You'll get some weird lifting. Things just won't be as even as they should be. So if you want it to be as perfect as possible, make sure that you got the magnets in there as deep as they can go and that they are good and centered. And then everything should come together nicely. All right, so now for the main event, I want to talk about these figures right here from The Simpsons. I've been such a big Simpsons fan since, well, a long time. And not a day goes by where I don't think of something from The Simpsons or quote something from The Simpsons, especially in those beginning seasons up until like season maybe 10 to 13 or something like that. But the ones before then, just the classic best episodes in my opinion. But anyway, I came across on Maker World this Homer Simpson model from a creator called Playco 3D. And this is the type of multicolor model that I prefer in 3D printing, because every piece is done individually with a different color, and then you can just put it all together. So no need for an AMS, no need for filament poop. It all comes out as individual colors, and then you can scale them up to be as big as you want or need them to be. And the scale of these models is just like so good. For Homer compared to Lisa and Milhouse and Bart, they are really, really nicely proportioned and nicely scaled. And the great thing is, when you want to try these out, you can get Homer for free on Maker World, and you can get Bart for free, and you can also get Barney for free. And I enjoyed these figures so much that I decided to become a member of their Patreon. I paid $10, and for those $10, I got access to some even more Simpsons characters as well, such as Lisa, and such as Milhouse, and this really cool gangster Scratchy. I guess this was probably from an episode that I don't recall. I probably didn't see it, probably like one of the later episodes maybe, but he's got a broken bottle. The way that we should bring back street fights with broken bottles. I think we've lost their way. You know, too many people are, I'm not going to go there, but we need to bring back street fights with broken bottles. If that's how you want to do things that way. Smash it on the end of the table. Come on, man. Anyway, so these models are so fun, and they are a really good height. By default, Homer is around 8.5 inches tall. Now, when it also comes to figures like this, you can go to the store, and the Simpsons got like a revitalization as far as toys go. And you can buy Simpsons figures right now from Jakks Pacific at like a 5-inch scale and a 2.5-inch scale. And they're going to be priced around between like $6 to $7. And then for the 5-inch scale figures, between $13 and $16. And so it made me wonder, like, well, if you can get them from the store and buy them, why would you 3D print them? Well, for one, to me, I don't need my figures to be articulated, because these are just going to stand there and look pretty on a display. I'm not going to be playing with them, and I don't need basic articulation like a robot, so that works for me. Second thing is, these are much bigger than what you will find in the store. The other reason is, well, the price. If you're already into 3D printing and you already have yourself a fair amount of filament in different colors, then it's going to be a lot cheaper to 3D print them. If you just want them to be in your collections, you can just have something to look at. Barney here is one of the biggest figures. And if you think about a spool of, say, bamboo lab filament, assuming that all your filament costs $24.99 a piece, all of the pieces to build Barney will cost you approximately $6 worth of filament, if $24.99 is your base price, and then you kind of do your math from there. But Barney is the biggest. When you consider Bart and Milhouse and Lisa, they're much smaller, so the price total for the filament that you're going to be using is going to be less than that. And you can just make more of them and give them to your friends or your family or whatever you want to do with them. Or, even you want to run on the other side of the law, maybe even sell them. I don't know. You do what you want. You're grown. So that is it. I'm going to wrap this up. But before I do, since I'm on the topic of Patreons, I do want to let you know real quickly that if you are aware of Galactic Armory, they are a company that makes some really cool models, cosplay, armor, helmets, props, stuff like that. They also have a really cool YouTube channel. They've been told by Games Workshop, who own the IP to Warhammer 40K, that they have to take down all of their Warhammer models. So that means if you even subscribe to their Patreon and you had access to all those files, in less than 48 hours from right now, when you see this, they're going to be gone. All right. They're forcing them to take them away. But Galactic Army has decided to put all the Warhammer files, if you are a Patreon member, inside of a folder for July. So they're all in one place, and you'll be able to download them all and store them away in case you wanted to print any of those models in the future. All right, so that's just a little bit of a heads up. Games Workshop does that from time to time. They purge the internet from 3D printed files because, you know, it's their IP and they're allowed to do that. That's their property. But it does make you wonder, how much longer are we going to have before we can no longer download and print cool Spider-Man helmets like this or cool Simpsons figures like this, because these do not have the blessing of the IP holder, and it's absolutely the right to do that. But what is the 3D printing world going to look like when you cannot create things like this to just have on display for your own personal benefits? So yeah, we'll see what the future holds, but I'll leave links to as many of these things as I can in the description. You can show some support to the people that made them and have a really fun time printing. But that's going to do it for now. I'm going to get out of here. It's pretty darn hot in this space, but if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe because I always have more coming. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.